Show starts. The show is starting.
Hello everybody and welcome to the Overwatch 2 Invasion Reveal stream. I'm your host for the day, Matt, Mr. X, and we have so much exciting Overwatch 2 content to show you. And just a reminder that a lot of the stuff you're going to see today, some of it is finished, some of it is work in progress. So with that said and out of the way, with me today in our first segment from the Overwatch 2 development team, we have senior game producer Kim Horn and art director Dion Rogers. How are you guys doing today?
Hello.
Good to see you again, man.
I know it's great. It's great. Me and Dion, we've been in a bunch of pieces together. Kim, we've talked for ages on Twitter. It's the first time I think we're meeting in person. It's great. And with you guys today, we're really gonna get into the invasion story and some of the PvE experiences people are going to have. So, Dion, we've actually signed you up as our lore expert.
Surprise!
Yeah, surprise. One of the biggest reveals, with the trailer and everything going on with Invasion is the story mission. So, just give us a little bit of where are we in terms of the Overwatch story, and where is the launching point for this?
Okay.
Stuck. We're stuck.
Yeah, we have an amazing narrative team back at the office that helped put this stuff together. So, speaking on behalf of their awesome work they've done, and Kim and I have been on this for a while. But basically, these are cooperative missions that will finally move the story in the world of Overwatch forward. And so it takes place shortly after Winston's recall. Winston's been trying to get the old Overwatch agents back together. It's a bunch of things happening around the world. He feels we need to get back together and even meet some new friends.
Isn't this gameplay from the one that he showed with XQC a couple of years ago?
Happening around the world, especially Null Sector has returned.
Yeah, and it's interesting, I know when we were chatting, there's some heroes that, canonically in the story haven't met each other, right?
Look cute.
So, get to see some of these moments.
The proper canon for Overwatch, we're finally moving the story forward. And in this version of the story, obviously this is the canon story, Lucio hasn't met Reinhardt yet, so you're going to learn exactly how these characters meet each other, what they've been up to while before this invasion happened.
Okay.
So it should be pretty interesting.
That's got to be
the ship's gonna go down.
For you guys to be able to write and bring these moments to the game, right? How do you even start that whole process?
That was scary.
So part of it, we start to look at the heroes. There's some young heroes that never been in Overwatch before, and there's some older heroes that they've been there for a while, but they need some new blood to help deal with the these new enemies.
Imagine if this is the new hero.
Basically.
Please make this a new hero support, please.
So it's fun to see actually how these characters met each other or what they've been up to during the...
He's using his gun as a sword!
Between Winston's recall and now, when Invasion starts.
Yeah, so in terms
Eggplane
of
gameplay!
A lot of awesome footage here from Gothenburg, which is one of the Invasion story missions.
Gothenburg,
Kim,
okay, not Rio, Gothenburg.
On the gameplay side of this, how do you actually, build out these story missions? What were some of the fun gameplay things you guys were able to play with?
Oh my god, that target is
were originally based
a Tank's Works nightmare.
Maps, and we decided
just freezing them up.
We were making our story missions that we had to make something a little more different, a little more fun for PvE. So
why are there so many Torbjorn targets? What?
Maps, but it's entirely
this gives me Portal vibes.
Yeah, I think that's super cool because we all know and love the Overwatch PvP maps, but you're made them for competitive, quick play.
That was a huge load there from Torb.
These have a completely
it's where he does his targets,
purpose, right? In terms of story missions. So when you guys kind of went back and looked at some of those areas, where were some of the things you wanted to expand on in terms of things you probably couldn't do with PvP?
Right. So we both wanted to balance gameplay choices versus what did we want to do with the story. So for example, Rio makes a great location because it's connected to one of our heroes, Lucio. And you get to witness how he feels to see an invasion happening in his hometown, basically.
Exactly.
But we also, each mission has a slight difference in gameplay that we wanted to achieve from a cooperative perspective. And so it meant we needed to build newer maps to really balance the gameplay, plus the story moments we wanted to tell.
Not final artwork.
There's a lot of different needs.
This is like what a cutscene.
Maps versus PvP.
Dude, that ship is huge.
Something like a tunnel, which would be terrifying.
Yeah.
Can we
but you
pilot
you
it?
might want to duck in there to hide from an enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Please!
a tunnel in PvP. No, I'd be
New leaked brick
put me in a
rework.
tunnel in
Yeah.
PvP. You know, you got the Reinhardts with the shatters down there.
Right.
But I guess that allows you to kind of have some more fun, a little bit more creativity,
It's a
like
bit
with
more
different enemy
open,
types.
yeah. The levels are more vast. We're able to do things that just would make PvP imbalanced, you know?
Exactly.
I mean, they look incredible.
That's a big
Just,
laser.
kind of seeing some of the footage here.
Okay, the ball just went
from
away.
Rio, just the
story
lighting, and
moments.
then this guy. I saw him in the trailer. I think he's coming up. Yeah, I mean, he looks tough. I can't
It's a
imagine.
pretty fun encounter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super stoked to jump in and see some of these encounters.
Is this a new
and different
support?
types of things that you guys have. Kim, I gotta ask on the gameplay side, like, what was like the most fun part about being able to kind of crack into
Transformers.
these story missions?
A lot of the fun, one of the most fun things, I think, is the dialogue in between the heroes. You get to know the heroes and their interactions a lot more. It's already a favorite thing of mine in PvP, but
Right.
we really get to throw a lot more in PvE.
Yeah, you kind of hear like all the dialogue that goes on
Yeah.
with like voice lines in the spawn room in PvP. So I mean, that's pretty cool in
Oh.
terms of PvE, in terms of getting more.
Where is
kind of
this
story,
area?
A little bit more tidbits. In terms of level design,
Gives me
obviously
very
you mentioned
Portal
that the
like
PvP
vibes,
space is
those
something
areas,
based
the
on
inside
changed
maps.
drastically. How big should we expect them? The different types of environments that you guys.
Is this
want to create?
Busan?
Oh, these are.
Seems
lot
like
bigger
mecha
than
base.
PvP
I would think it's
maps,
Busan though.
so
No, it said Rio top
there's a
left.
ton of
I'm blind.
stuff to
I don't
explore.
know. We have a good comparison, but they're 4 or 5 times bigger than
Yeah.
Wow.
any PvP space we've made, and
5
just
times
we're able to do
the amount of a
cinematic
usual
vistas
PvP
and
map.
longer sight lines, just things that just
Ooh.
would totally
Yeah.
break the balance of PvP,
Right.
and it's so fun to see what we can do. The team's been itching to do this kind of thing for a while,
And then I guess with the longer sightlines and stuff like that, like it allows you to kind of play with the different.
And
enemy types,
ironically,
right, that you
if
can see
Paraiso
during
would be
that,
like this, the map would feel better
anyone
to
we should
play.
Look out for that we don't want to go up against.
there's an artillery unit that
Right.
he loves to stay away from the player. He's really far away, so using your team comp to balance, like, who needs to deal with the artillery that's further away versus the grunt is pretty dangerous up close. There's this fun balance of the
screaming?
level
You're
design,
screaming.
Right.
plus the units' tactical abilities, plus the powers that our
this-
Overwatch heroes have. Yeah.
I mean, the art that we got from this. I mean, this looks that looks like Gothenburg to me. I'm not an expert,
Home
but
to Torbjorn.
yeah, home to Torbjorn. I mean, this looks super cool. Is this? I guess this is some of the artwork and like kind of in design, right? Like this looks like a factory, weapon cannon in
It's a
Gothenburg.
big
You'll
gun.
find out.
You have to play to find out about this guy. But we're trying some new stuff. Torbjorn gains a few new turrets.
Wait, that's a cat? Is that Mitzi?
So,
Mitzi's not
Little
allowed.
tools, little tech advance there
Yes.
from Torb. Yeah, I mean, the level of detail that you guys put in is just tremendous for this types of content. What is like some of the? And I guess this is a null sector kind of coming in, right? This is kind of like. Do you know where this is?
this is in Rio, so this
Oh.
is what a contest artist named Peter Lee worked on this piece, and
Wow.
we usually try to kind of a little script of what we would like to see within a space.
Is this like a
one's interesting
doggo?
because it started off at night, but we kind of changed the setting, and this is a glimpse of some of the other null sector units.
I mean, because they haven't repeated like
Return fully
anything so
upgraded,
far.
and,
They're ready to go.
Like any of the scenes.
their command
Like
ship
new
is
images all the time or like new
generated
footage.
by Al.
This has to be so fun to work on.
Yes,
because like what you have obviously that moment with Winston's recall, right? And then after that, you guys kind of have an idea where it's
It's
going.
been a long
but-
time
Yeah.
coming, but
Yeah.
it's
Event
been so
mission
good to
Toronto.
finally just we're answering that question that we created a lot of questions, and we're creating some new questions, but we're getting some answers finally now.
Toronto
so it's fun to
Island.
see this
A ship.
objective in Toronto here.
Yeah, I think fans are going to be blown away once they see some of the stuff that you guys have been working on. It's been incredible.
Wait, you
One of
can
the
fight
other
on a
things is actually
boat?
event missions. So story missions, they look amazing. Really kind of build on obviously the lore, the story of Overwatch. Event missions. So these are, story missions are now the only PvE thing happening.
Right.
Event missions are also
Event missions,
coming.
other world.
Can
This
you
is the
explain
part
to me
of
a little
King's
bit
Go
about
that's
the
not
event mission?
opened.
Yeah, event missions are new. They're coming with season 6.
Looks
They're
spooky.
The
Looks like a
highly
Halloween map.
playable, repeatable content that you're meant to play after you finish the story missions.
So can canonical? Is this not like
a little bit of both.
bit of both.
if we want it to be?
We might have a canonical mission in there. We might have one that's not. I would say the first one coming out with season 6 is in that gray area.
Yeah, and
maybe not.
And I've seen this location before. This looks like a little bit of an expansion on Kings Row.
Yeah. Yes, I think some crafty players have seen this in advance.
There's sneaky players.
Yeah, I think they've peeked through some cracks.
That's what, it's like on
It's
second
something we
point.
always wanted to
set up.
do is expand on our PvP maps and build more, give another option. There was a lot of ideas about this. So this is a new branching path that we used during the event mission
Right.
in Kings Row.
Yeah, the lighting, everything.
Okay, night and day.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
And so what is the gameplay changes between a story mission and an event mission? Like, how should people expect those to play differently?
We have a whole bunch of challenges with story missions. They'll change every week. Also, the hero roster you can choose from will be different. So the gameplay will change from
Some
week to
gameplay
week. Your
modifiers, right?
objectives,
Yeah.
your challenges.
That'll be super
Okay.
cool. So like a gameplay modifier each week, you know,
Yeah.
with some different like new heroes in the mix, right?
Like, I have a reason to play it again next week.
Fun, just in terms of like replayability and
Yeah.
this is Underworld, right? This
Right.
is kind of like the
first one is called Underworld.
the first one, and you know, some same enemies is story or different.
Same enemies, but you know, you'll fight them in new ways.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So
Same
I don't get
enemies.
any, tips and tricks.
But
today.
find them in new
in
ways.
terms of how to deal with
So that means that I guess you're gonna have like
these
more
look actually
tools.
Super awesome, and I love the fact that they're like, you know, you mentioned like replayability, right? In terms of like week to week coming back with a new hero roster,
Right.
Different types of modifiers, I assume, you know, with different enemy modifiers.
Chat,
or, you
with
know,
how many
buffs or
you could
something
play
like that.
before?
That'll be super fun. What was the best part about working?
Forg?
on
You
this
had
type of
Forg in your
stuff? Is it,
team,
like,
right?
Getting creative with the modifiers
In these
and things
missions.
Like that? Like,
Yeah, definitely. And then just figuring out how
Forg.
to make the gameplay really fun when you're
Would they
playing
keep
over
Forg?
and
They
over
might keep Forg again.
It's something we play like every day, and it always feels different.
yeah, I guess was the philosophy going in Underworld, was it to build something that's like highly replayable, like week on week?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, that's yeah. I mean, and then you know, to have something like that, I
Stop
think
spreading
obviously on top of
information.
the story missions,
Right.
I think is awesome because people were wondering like, oh, like, you know, I'm going to do the story, but I want to do like more, and I want to do it all the
Yeah.
time with the different difficulties there. And then is this like one difficulty or is it multiple difficulties? How does that work?
There's multiple difficulties.
Okay.
You know what's cool?
We're gonna
too
play the
is
hardest one,
It was
chat.
fun to revisit the classic PvP map and expand on it. And in PvP, we do place
Classic
a lot of story.
PvE?
Right? A lot of
PvP map?
players pick up on a lot of things we do in the PvP maps that are canon to the story of Overwatch. So Kings Row made a lot of sense to do it as an event
Right.
mission because there's Mandata and
Kings Row.
Yeah, it's
too.
Kings Row
Right.
too, right?
Who's going to be upset about going back to
Right.
Kings Row?
Right.
Yeah, so a lot of our PvP maps have a lot of story in it, and this is what's so great about finally doing this co-op story missions to help answer some of those tidbits of story that we used to place
Yeah.
Yep.
around the PvP map. So
Totally.
that was a lot of fun just digging.
I
into
guess
that.
if you're like into Overwatch
I
lore,
just love,
it's gonna be
like,
very
the
juicy.
Nighttime, scary kind of look that Kings Row has.
Well, I mean, that's how
Go over
Gomania
the
is
top
every
of
night. What?
Underworld. But,
Wait, that's
another
not scary,
piece
that's
of,
home.
no
What?
content, that's a solo playable. Is Hero Masteries. So I found out about this a little bit ago.
You got Masteries?
and I was
What
like,
is this?
This looks super cool.
Yeah.
I'm terrible at it. So
Hey, yo!
explain to me a little bit about Hero Masteries.
It's
Mastery
solo
coins!
content. You're meant to play, you know,
Speed
by yourself.
running!
Maybe it's late at night and you just don't want to stop playing, but it's meant so you can try out new heroes. You know, maybe a hero you haven't played very much or very often,
Hey, yo!
you want to get better at, and you can kind of play on your own and
This
learn
looks
some
sweet.
techniques and,
Winton jump.
You know, play some challenges.
Yeah, and I see whoever was doing this one.
Like
pretty
some
good. I see
mini
the
games.
Winston Primal Rage
I
attack,
love
right?
this.
No, you jump, then Primal, and then
I
and
love
be able to
this.
knock players around.
Yeah, and you know, story-wise, Winston basically created a simulation room within Gibraltar, Watchpoint Gibraltar.
It's fun to do in
the,
queue times. Yeah,
heroes
exactly.
basically
We're gonna
to
speed
hone
run
their
them.
skills to test
Right.
out, you know, just training. It's basically a training simulator or a hologram.
What are you training with Winton? I don't understand this.
For our heroes to train, and we use that as a reason why players
Just
can train
zaps.
to get better at a hero, or even use
Wait,
it as a
did
way
his
to
jump
start learning a
charge?
new hero, you know, as a
Did you see
hero.
that? His jump was charging when he
That's
jumped.
super awesome. You guys have like
Look.
woven like the story and the universe.
What is
into,
that?
Like Hero Masteries, right? And
Right.
It just exists as another thing.
What
like
is
in an
that?
Arcade, right? Like this is
Right.
kind of.
No, there's a door in Gibraltar.
Oh shit, is that a new ability? Winter Leap. You don't
Right,
charge
that's
the leap.
Super cool. And then, how did you guys go about?
Is he gonna get a
I think you were
buff?
telling the story about like how this kind of came to be.
What is this?
Well,
You have a
what
jump
how
meter.
it started is a few of us on the team were saying, you know, our kids.
Probably
are
the
starting
higher
to
you go, the more
play
damage you
Overwatch.
do. The more you stay in
We
the air.
wanted
That's
a
what I'm
safe
thinking.
space for them to learn how to play that, you know, isn't really in the live game.
It isn't in ranked play. Not learning. Not
Might be a
learning
nerf
how
if you
to
think
play
about
less
it.
than
Yes.
Live and yeah, I guess
We're gonna indicate how much you can jump. That might also just be in the game. Yeah.
To learn and figure out how to play.
Yeah.
Just for like that
and then,
game mode.
Too. I mean, I think it's an awesome tool to be able to for players to train, right? To be able to
Yeah.
kind of learn different heroes outside of just playing them in ranked.
Exactly. If there's a hero that's your favorite, that's great. But now you can play someone new and maybe kind of get to learn the play style. Find out if you actually like, you know, healing people.
Finally learned to res.
right.
Every mercy
Okay.
should have to do a minimum of 10 hours on the course.
said-
before ranked.
It's so
Healing
fun to
people.
See, other people play, you know, and what they do compared to your own trials. during that.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think this is super cool. Then, what should we expect when Hero Masteries launch?
So we'll have 5 heroes coming out with Season 6 mid-cycle.
Mid-cycle.
There'll be different heroes you can play. Some will unlock different weeks. And
Different
yeah,
weeks?
there'll be scoring, so you can compare your score with your friends.
Oh, that'll be cool. Like a little bit of like speedrunning type of thing, right?
Yeah,
Where
definitely.
Wait, only.
Yeah, you're
You
able
can
to
do
go
only
in,
with
kind
one
of
hero,
maybe
don't have it available
plot
for
a way
everybody?
Through the course, where hey,
Yeah.
this is going to be the best course of action, right?
Yes.
I assume the coins obviously boost your score.
Hey, yo!
And after that,
And
yes.
so does time.
Yeah, and then this is the mercy one. Is you can tell that one looks like it's a little bit harder than
Yes.
the other ones. That
Yes.
one looked like there was different enemies, right? That you're
Right.
able. Is it different enemy types than other modes?
Yeah, so we made a whole new custom set of bots for this mode, and some are specific to certain heroes. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of new stuff to learn.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys like gamified this.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a kind of like a cool lore piece. It's a little bit of like training to fight, null sector, and then obviously gamified it into like a solo PvE type of.
I think
Play.
this is gonna be
I learned so
fun.
much playing the Mercy course. I was surprised at the things you could do with Mercy.
Yeah.
Hear me out. I think it's
coming
gonna be
out of the
fun,
Hero Mastery.
but I think they're trying to
I mean,
make it so that you
there's,
tune in
tons of
every
stuff,
week
right,
to
in
play
the
it.
Arcade, like you think
This is
of,
why
like,
they're probably trying to
parkour,
limit it.
Different things that like try to help you with like the movement, and yeah, you can already tell that. So many players, whether they're new or old, are gonna either learn new different types of skills that you can do with some of these.
Exactly,
heroes,
like
or
flavor
just,
of the week, you know?
get better at them,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like Mercy, like being able to obviously jump from platform.
It's
to
gonna be
platform,
fun.
This person's cheating a little bit using Valve.
But I would have
right?
liked to have like for every hero.
But,
available
like, trying to do this
consistently
without
to
it,
actually
right?
aim
And
to
kind
game.
of learning like how to kind of launch yourself from platform to platform could definitely improve tons of players' games.
Yeah, exactly. Each hero will have a different difficulty, of course. So as you change the difficulty, you'll get an entirely different course.
All mastery coins found.
I'm super stoked. I think you can use this as a really cool like warm up tool. A late night after a long
See the
long day
timer
of rank,
here?
jump into this, try and set a high score. Being able to kind of show off to the rest of your
Seems
friends.
kind of fun.
Pretty sweet. I'm even more excited than I was before we started, right? About all the PvE stuff coming in Invasion. What would you guys like to say to the community? What are you guys most excited for them to get their hands on?
Yeah, I'm finally excited to just get the story missions out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
The team has worked really hard on this, and
I can't wait to speedrun
finally
them.
moving the canon of Overwatch 4, the world, and
So they're moving on with the log.
This is what we just loved it, and glad it's finally
Right.
making its way.
Yeah, we've poured a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this content. We've been playing it for years, and we're so excited to finally be able to play with our friends and everyone in the community.
Yeah, I'm excited to jump into the story, see all the awesome cutscenes, kind of learn more a little bit about where the Overwatch story is going. But thank you guys for both
you.
joining me here today in the first part of this. And when we come right back, we're going to have Game Director Aaron Keller and Daniel McGowan to talk about Flashpoint coming with Invasion. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss that.
Okay, well we're gonna go on a small
C-16
break.
at 37.
Hey, what is
Toronto is
this?
under attack
No, this wasn't all.
by null sector. There's something different about Null Sector this time.
Oh no!
They've taken over most of the city and they're rounding up Omnics.
This is a trailer. Yeah, this is a
They need our
trailer.
help.
So that was all regarding that. Then we're gonna be back with some Flashpoint details and Aegon Killer. Okay, hear me out. Obviously, excited for and more or whatever. And more. It says and more. I just want to say that a hero mastery thing is a super smart idea if you want to learn how to play a hero without feeling like you're gonna be judged in quick play or ranked when you play the hero. That is super nice. Like, for example, you think that Mercy is easy. You play Mercy for the first time in quick play and you die and you go like, I don't want to play Mercy. This hero is bad, whatever. And then you try the training course or whatever they call it, the mastery one. It's something that I feel should have been in the game a long time ago. It's good that they added it now. Now, I don't know if it's okay if you have like one hero per week. Maybe one per role per week would be okay. Maybe. I'm just saying. I don't... Because it would be bad to have like 2 or 3 DPSs in a row. Or like a tank, a DPS support, tank, DPS support. That would be good. That would be good. Or just have them available at the same time. Just have them available at the same time. Maybe I'm asking for too much. They said 5. Yeah, they said 5, but they said that it's weekly based or something like that. I just hope that that map... Look, this map that they're showing right now with Reinhardt will be available for workshop editors to edit the map. I think it would be cool. And obviously we're going to have a bunch of speedrunning in this. But it's a good introduction to... Oh. Okay. Oh, again. Never mind. We're good. What is this? Never mind. If they're not Pugman, it's kind of disappointing.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Matt, Mr. X, and this time I am joined by game director Aaron Keller and principal environment artist Daniel McGowan to take a deeper look into some of the other things coming in Invasion. How you guys doing?
Okay.
Awesome.
White
So
matchmaking.
good. Thanks
Hey,
for
everybody.
No, I mean, I'm super excited to jump into this. Some of the PvE stuff we talked about earlier was super exciting. And then for me, I love PvP. So first I want to go into player progression, Aaron. I know a lot of people have been talking about it online, kind of, what should
What is the new
player
Overwatch 2
progression look
player
like?
progression
You
system?
maybe have a little bit of an update.
I think I can update players on
why
player
not?
progression system. Yeah, so this is going to be coming this August. And our player progression system is a little bit different than the one that we had in the original Overwatch, which was just a player level system. This time what we really want to do is we want to recognize people playing the game, but also recognize the way that they play the game. So as people jump in and start playing in almost any of our game modes,
progression.
they'll start earning experience in this new system. And what they do is
Hey,
they
yo.
earn it per hero.
Hey,
and
yo.
We'll be tracking their play style through a lot of different categories. So it might be things like games played or damage done, damage mitigated, and healing done. And as you do that, you'll level up that particular category and earn an emblem.
That
for
looks
hero.
nice.
And you can continue to earn more emblems for your heroes. And as you do that,
Emblems,
it
heroes.
will like upgrade your hero's level. And so
Hero
you'll
level.
start getting these badges for your heroes.
Badges?
And the interesting thing about it is you can go into your career profile, check out the progression section, and kind of get a story for the way that your particular hero plays the game. An interesting detail here is that we don't cap the amount of experience that you can get in any category. And the reason why we do that is we don't want to incentivize you to play it in any particular way in order to fill out your player
you can get
progression system
as
in a
high as
certain way.
possible.
We really want it to be about your own play style and to have everybody's own player progression board to be a unique reflection of the way that they play that hero.
Yeah, this is
And then
smart.
on top of all that, we're going to be rewarding name cards through this system. And so as you progress through the different categories, let's say you're playing Reinhardt, you'll unlock a Reinhardt name card. But then as you level Reinhardt up more, you're going to unlock higher level versions of those name cards. It's the first time we've
What's a
really
higher
had
level
a
version of the name
customizable
card?
name card like this.
Yeah, I mean, that's really awesome for people to be able to show off, their individual heroes, right? You level a certain hero, or you're, playing just one hero
Lot of
all the
information.
time, right? You can show
If
people,
it's free,
a name card.
it's a
that kind of
W.
signifies
If
how
it's-
good you are and how much.
If it's
you
behind a
leveled up that
paywall,
hero.
not a W.
I want to talk about Flashpoint. So I know with the trailer that launched, everybody
Mercy
was
Pink,
talking
Mercy
about
Guardian, Mercy, kind of
Flashpoint.
like that. I
Before we
see.
jump into like some of the details of the mode, tell us a little bit about just kind of the basics. How does Flashpoint play?
Too much information.
So, Flashpoint is our newest game mode. It's coming during Overwatch 2 Invasion. It takes place on some of the largest maps that we've ever built
These look awesome.
for Overwatch. And the way that you play the game mode is the objective for each team is to be the first team to score 3.
Fuck it, what now?
And the way you score a point is you fully capture an objective. On
Like a King of the Hill point.
When you first start in Flashpoint, you'll be in the spawn room and we'll randomly choose one of the objectives on the map. And when the spawn doors open, everybody runs out. They go to that first capture point. The capture points work similar to the way they do in Control.
So many
Your
close
team
corridors.
can gain ownership of it very quickly, but then you have to tick all the way up to 100% before you fully own the thing and score a point. The interesting thing about the mode, though, is this is where everything kind of changes. So when a team caps that, what'll happen is we'll randomly select one of the remaining control points and activate that one. These maps, like I said, they're really big. So now you'll have these two teams typically traveling in a parallel path to the next capture
This
point.
looks incredible, by the way.
This is an amazing.
I don't know how I like the fact that it's RNG based.
Like that, but you'll be traveling next to the enemy team. So you have all these
about that
options.
one.
Do you want to interact with the team there? Do you want to try to get an early pick or maybe an early team fight win so you can
King of the
capture
Hill,
the
but
next
longer.
easier?
Yeah.
Do you maybe just want to try to protect positioning? So maybe you're just going to try to get to the next point quickly in order to get high ground on it and force the enemy
Snowballing
team
would
to
be
kind of pop
huge.
in a less advantageous route. And then you'll fight over the next control point, and you'll keep doing that until one of the teams gets 3 points, and they'll win the match.
Yeah, and I got to say, Daniel, the art looks amazing. How difficult was it tackling? Like, these maps are massive, like truly massive.
I think it
How
would be
difficult
more
was it
fun than
tackling? Like,
push.
hey, we want to keep that Overwatch level of detail, style across these large maps. I mean, just
I'm
look at-
interested to
look
see
at
how it's
some
going
of
to
the
be.
landscapes
Because
you
it's
have to
not
play
as linear as 2CP, exactly.
Well, first it took a whole team effort and a lot of passionate people.
But it might be
we
frustrating
really
to
tried
play.
to push the bar as much as we could with these maps, right? They're much larger than any other maps that we've built to date. And
Huge maps.
It actually allows us to bring in a lot
So
more
speed boost and
themes,
mobility
right?
will
So we can
count a
push
lot.
More narrative. We can show you elements of that culture that you've never seen before, right? For example, in Junk City, you might even be able to see where the demolitionist faction reside, right? The center arena, the hammer mill. So, yeah, we put in a lot of love, and getting it to all fit was very tricky. But we didn't want to drop that Blizzard quality bar at all. So.
It's got to be really cool.
Dude, these
to be
maps
able to
are
kind of explore.
huge.
We have Junkertown, right? But that's just a pretty linear path, right? The game tells you where the cart goes. You follow the cart. Now with these like wide
Stab
open
and
landscapes,
squeal.
it must be super fun to jump in with the team and ideate on like how a really kind of like junk city looks, right?
Exactly. We the fans love Junkertown, the developers, we love Junkertown, and we have some great cinematics, and we really wanted to explore this fantasy a bit deeper. And so we had to ask ourselves some really cool questions about, we know what the town looks like, but what if the city, if you're in the heart of it, right on top of the Omnium core, what would those vistas look like? And I think we came up with some pretty
I don't like
good,
Junkertown that much.
solutions.
It's okay,
Yeah,
but
and in terms of gameplay, like Aaron, like how do the points, different, right? Obviously we have Control as is now, but now with these like large maps, right, you can create different types of points in between those points, like connecting them. What should players expect?
Yeah, so these maps are totally different than anything that we've built before. And they're a big non-linear space, and they're also a quasi-symmetrical layout as well. And
they're huge, dude, huge.
There's a lot of challenges with building these maps. As I said earlier, they each have 5 control points. And when we develop new game modes, especially game modes for quick play ranked and for esports players to play on, one of our top goals is to make sure that they're competitive, that they're balanced, and that they're fair. So every one of the control point areas in these maps have a symmetrical layout. It works similar to the way we do Control. So each team has the same entrances to it. They have the same amount of cover, the same access to high ground, and even the same run times from their spawn room. And we
Good that they
do that
calculated
very
that.
intentionally to make the map fair. But But then on top of that, when you have all 5 of these in one big space, as you start moving further away from these points, then the map starts getting less symmetrical, and it's more about all the connecting routes that you have between the space, because sometimes you might be going from one of the capture points that's closest to the enemy team side, and you're pulling back to yours. Or sometimes you might be in one corner going all the way across to the other corner of the map, and it's a really long journey. And one of our priorities is to always make it so that players kind of recognize where they are in the map and recognize where they're supposed to go in the map. And so as you move from one point to the other and you see that next objective, I think that we spend a lot of time in that flow along the streets and to that next point of interest that you're supposed to go to. And those are all like a lot of the challenges. There's a lot more that I could talk about.
Let them finish talking, then I'm gonna give my opinion on this.
Yeah, and we get clips here of Suravasa, one of the maps here for
Suravasa.
Daniel, I gotta ask, like when you kind of get this design right of a map and how it flows. When you guys jump in, like how do you help, in terms of art, like having players identify like where they are? Because like Aaron mentioned, I mean, some of these clips that we have of Suravasa, I mean, are beautiful, but it is such a large, expansive map.
Yeah, it's tricky. We have to be very careful with our sight lines for performance and gameplay and things like that. And so what we did is we designed into each of the points very large recognizable elements that you can see from basically anywhere, right? So the center market has a giant tower that you can use to how
many games are you gonna lose?
Find out where you are,
because
right?
we don't know where we
the
are.
Temple,
I'm curious.
Goes up into the sky. So we've been very conscious about giving the players something on the horizon that they can always use to orient themselves within the map.
Yeah, I'm super stoked for this mode, especially once we see high-level teams and players go in, and how do they decide to play it, right? Do you have like a really sick tracer player who maybe can like lurk in some of those like parts of the map, right, and try and get those pickoffs, or maybe you decide to run all the way to the other.
Imagine how many corners you have to check.
And like try and like really kind of like bunker down with a Baptiste. How did
you can flank from everywhere.
That's a great question. And like to just kind of like touch on what you were talking about there too, since these maps are so big, there are so many little cool locations that you can go to. And I think that like a core skill for an FPS shooter is map knowledge. Yeah. It's not just about aiming. Overwatch's not just about also team play and ability usage. It's about learning the map. These maps are a lot bigger than anything we've built before. So we think there's probably going to be a longer tail to this learning curve. So it might be a little bit more intimidating to jump into a map like this, but at the same time,
here's how it's played.
There's this process that you get to go through of learning
King of the Hill,
better and better over time.
Like first at the beginning,
Yeah, I think you'll see lots of really cool stuff. Like what's the best way to rotate from one point to the other, right? If you know a team is spawning in one spot, is this the best route to take, or maybe you take a little bit of a safer route? Is this the other one to kind of work on? I think there's a ton of when we see it with Push, right? Push came out, was played a certain way.
You'll be very strategic, I'll agree.
Changed, I think, with a mode like this. And I mean, you see where you can fight in all these different awesome locations. I think it'll definitely change over time.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, sorry, jumping back to like how we developed this mode too. I think that developing new game modes for Overwatch is something that we have started to recognize as core to running the live game. If you think about the way players experience our game, you select a hero, you load into a map that plays a particular game mode, and all of our maps are like that. All of our maps are built for very specific game modes, and when you have that sort of constraint on you, when you develop a new payload map, for example, there's only going to be a certain amount of things that you do for a map like that. They're very linear, they're cut into 3 sections, they have a certain amount of like choke points and run back times from the spawn rooms. And so to create an experience that feels a lot different to players on a map requires a new game mode. And so that was our intention here, was to not just build some new maps, but to start evolving Overwatch into the future by building new game modes. These are the sorts of things that we would like to continue
that
to
this
do
will
for
feel
the
more
game.
like 2CP than King of the Hill.
At what our game can be years down the line, as as we're releasing things like story missions. We're releasing new heroes, new game modes, new maps.
Incredibly
and
strategical.
3-5 years in the future, Overwatch is a much bigger, much more expansive, and much
I
more
love 2CP,
evolved experience.
but
than you
it's
have today.
bad to play in ranked.
And I think just seeing some of these locations and like building upon the story, like we were talking about, in the past, in
3CP.
PvE, right? With like expanding Kings Row, and like obviously we have a Junkertown map, and then see like new Junk City. It's got to be fun, Daniel, for you guys to look and be like, okay, what can we expand on, right, and show more of that side of things.
Absolutely. In Junk City, for example, you can actually see Junkertown in the vista.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? We've tried to give some kind of connection to those and call back to the original map because it was so influential. But we can't talk about Junk City without talking about India first. And that one, we built that as an assault map originally.
Call of Duty
But when we
Hardpoint.
cut 2CP, we decided it'd be a perfect opportunity for Flashpoint because we really wanted to represent that location in our world. So that was the first one we built, and we learned a lot, which we took to Junk City. Right.
Yeah, that's super cool because I've seen Survasa firsthand, and just the locations, are beautiful. We just kind of had it on the big screen behind me, but like, man, it looks so good, and all
maps
the
look good.
locations are
I
so
agree.
different from each other. I think that's one of the things that I really kind of take when I see some of the footage and watch is that every point in this feels different, but then also every game also feels different, right? Because as you were mentioning before, you're kind of traveling through different parts of the map that you may not experience all the time.
Yeah, because the points are selected randomly in this game mode. And so you might start in the far right corner and then pull back to the near left corner.
If it's
But sometimes
symmetrical,
you're going to go in a completely different order. So there's a lot of combinatorics in learning how to not just play the mode, but in learning like, hey, if we're going to be going from this point to that point, what's the right route to take? What are we going to do if the enemy team does this?
Ooh,
Or,
these sidelines
hey,
are nice,
we think
though.
We saw that Brigida alone.
Gameplay-wise, it's gonna feel
Maybe
good,
we
especially
could
this
take
point.
The opportunity to go over there and try to get an easy pick for us. And there's a lot of different things that you can be thinking about and doing just as you're learning how to play the mode and learning how to move around the map.
And I think we see it when I know we get some of these clips at the start of these, right, with the top-down POV of just how expansive.
I think it's not gonna feel like you're playing Overwatch. Does that make sense? And I think that's good because it's new.
Of a map like this, like,
I think
With how
people are
big the
gonna be really
maps are.
impressed. These maps are so big, we're able to pack more theming and more narrative into these than any
Feels
of our other
very
maps,
new.
right?
I'm
You're gonna
looking
see
at the
things like,
fights.
Omnic temples, marketplaces.
Oh my God.
Refineries, palaces, gardens. You name it. We're all over. So.
I hope my teammates don't get distracted going from point to point with all the story and lore you guys have packed into some of these.
Yeah, it's
like,
interesting.
Hey, the point.
It's like being in the Hanamura arcade, right?
Right,
It's hard to get out of that spawn room. But a lot of these maps, they are connected to our lore. Suravasa, Mandata's learning simple, learning center.
I'm gonna lower the volume down for just a second. I just want to say that there's one thing that's gonna be crucial if this game mode will be actually good or not. On paper, it seems like it's gonna be something incredibly new, very big, very fun, and the maps look very complex, and I'm hyped up for them. But they said that the points unlock randomly. As long as what happens after you cap 1 point? Do you spawn into another spawn room which is it's symmetrical and it's the same distance for both teams? Or the team that wins that point walks to the other point and the team that dies spawns to another one? It spawns to like the close spawn. Because if that's the case, then if it's RNG based, the walking distance from that spawn to that point compared to the walking distance from the point to over there will be at a disadvantage. That's what I'm afraid of.
That had to be really difficult.
Yeah, it was
That
a
means
lot
you
of
have to
back and
play
forth.
high
We had
mobility
some
heroes.
Really good support from our tech art and our engineers.
Okay, I heard support. My heart skipped a beat.
We had to solve a lot of development problems, right? Getting everything to fit in memory. You can, teleport from one end of the map to the other at any given moment, right? With certain characters, and so.
Wait, what's this?
Guy, the scale man. He's out.
Yeah, there he
He's
is.
out.
Yep. See behind the curtain a little bit,
You have to have those, or you build something just way too big.
It's so incredible to see this stuff like just that turns into what we just saw.
Yeah, and you can see we stick as close as we can to the original blockout to maintain the integrity of that gameplay, right? Because that's where the fun is found.
EP
right?
spawn
And we
is
wanna make sure
available.
that we amplify that, not distract or break.
Yeah, it's really gameplay first, right? And then how can we go about and like support that with the art and whatnot.
I like that.
Yeah. gameplay first.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Way to go.
Man, thank you guys so much for joining me here today. Flashpoint, player progression, both look amazing. Anything you want to say before we head out?
Yeah, I mean, one, thank you for having us. Thank you for letting us talk about.
I'm more excited for this than for
Overwatch 2
Push.
Invasion.
Than I was for
It's a
Push.
season that we're like so incredibly excited about, and it's not just because of Flashpoint or the progression system or the story missions or hero mastery. We have a new hero coming out that season. We have an event mission for people to play. We have another event later in the season that's coming. There's like so much as a part of this season. We're so excited for it.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think we could probably talk about this all day if
Please?
if you let us. So thank you.
Oh man, I still
Let 'em!
look at the scenery behind
Yes.
this. I mean, Saravasa is going to be a whole lot of fun.
We're not complaining.
Anything you want to say before we go?
I just can't wait to get this in front of people and play this with my friends and hear what the community thinks.
Yeah, I think they're going to be super excited to be able to jump into PvE, PvP, all the awesome content coming in Overwatch 2 Invasion. But that's going to be it for us for the Overwatch 2 Invasion reveal stream. Thanks so much for joining us.
Okay.
Also, Season 5 out now. Jump in and play it. Get ready. August 10th kicks off Invasion. We'll see you there.
It's out.
Everyone excited to play Role Heroes? Emily's
Okay, this
been
is
working on this campaign for ages.
Overwatch Season 5. The trailer for Season 5. Season 5 is out. Oh my god. Okay, we're going to stay a little bit more. I just want to say, sounds pretty exciting. We talked about my opinion on the first part. I want to talk a little bit about like this new game mode. On paper, it might be a game mode that will have the biggest success in the entire game, and I think I might love it more than hybrid or payload maps, which I think are like, at least for me, the identity of Overwatch, rather than King of the Hill or push maps, which are very deathmatchy. As long as they balance ultimate charge when you swap with the heroes, or adjust the distances between the points after they unlock randomly, so no team is at a disadvantage, it should be good. It should be okay. I'm just afraid that on some points, some team comps will be better than other team comps. And you might do a gamble. You might start with dive, because on that map, 3 out of 5 points are dive maps, dive points. And 2 maps are rush points. You know what I mean? This is what I'm afraid of. If the map is like so dynamic, maybe if you swap heroes, you maintain your rule charge or increase it. I don't know. It could be something like this. I think it's going to be very complicated, which involves a bunch of fun. So I can't wait to try that out. I can't wait to try that game mode out. I think I'm going to love it. I love playing 2CP. I know how it sounds. I love playing 2CP. But in ranked, it felt bad. I just hope that this game mode will feel better than push and better than 2CP. And I think it has the potential to do so. So, excited for Season 6. See how it's going to go.